Starting off as we usually do with a bit of a shakeout, stretch. Get the blood flowing, get the chi flowing, open up the joints. Good. And then either sitting or standing, we're going to take our fists and we're going to very gently, to start with, push up into our chin, very gently. And the idea is that we're going to open up the throat a little bit. Not something we often do. Don't go too hard. Just notice what it feels like to release the throat. Normal breathing pattern. Hold quite a lot of tension in the throat, especially when we feel like we can't say things. Release that. Now we're going to do something called, this kind of goes close to what we were doing just a moment ago. We're going to do something called green dragon lifts chin. So the hands are going to face towards each other first. And they're going to come up and out. Nice stretch here. Don't worry about the breath. And then we're going to come down into a little ball. Yeah. And then the hands are going to turn away from each other. They're going to spiral. So both palms facing outwards. And we're going to look to the side where the arm is down. And then we're going to bring the hands in and back into that sort of like feeling of being bunched up. And then we're going to open out in the opposite direction. Looking over that shoulder. Come down with the fists. And then we're going to come up with both hands again. When we've got both hands up like this, see if you can really stretch open the fingers. This is like the claws of the green dragon. So really stretch open the fingers. See if you can get as much space as possible between the fingers. And then come down into your fist, gentle fist, and then push up, opposite direction, palms out. See if you can open those fingers nice and wide, look over the shoulder. Come back with your fist gently. Let's do this one more side. Remembering to open out through the fingers as much as possible. Get as much air between those fingers as possible. Good. We're going to now take the hands down the throat, stroke down the throat, down the chest. We're going to end up with our hands at the lower sort of point of the rib cage, just before it gets to the solar plexus. We're going to put two hands over that point. And we're going to encourage that point to move down and move in slightly. Not too much pressure. It's just a sense of encouraging it to drop and perhaps slightly come in. Using this opportunity to allow the senses to come inside the body. Starting to arise, starting to allow everything to arise and pass. We're going to take the hands, it's like grinding the palms of the hands together. So we're going to heat up this sort of area of the palm. See how much heat you can get in there. And then rubbing that heat into the kidneys. And see if you can rub some heat into the point between the kidneys. Ming Meng. The gate of life, life gate. And that area is going to be really important on days like this. If we feel like we've got energy and heat in that area on days like this, the rest of the body can stay warm. And then rubbing over the sides of the belly, and then coming around to the front of the belly, rubbing into the belly. Good. Encouraging our dantian to become sort of active. And the idea for this class is that we're going to experiment with trying to feel more energy. So dantian plays an important part of that. The points in the hands, the points in the feet, points in the head, and the Ming Men, all important gates for that sense of energy. So we're going to then bring our hands, almost like we're holding on to balls, or a ball. And then we're going to bring it up in front of us. Bring the palms of the hands together. And then we're going to rest the thumbs on the chest, the center of the chest. So this is just a technique to really start to focus internally. So see if you can bring the entire universe inside the body. Try and keep focusing on bringing everything outside, inside. Float the hands down. Hands come up the side, palms facing out. Around the level of the shoulders, relax the shoulders. Slight twist in the hands, pushing out with the fingers. And this time we're going to have a sense of trying to release the whole self out into the universe. So a technique to try and perhaps release our feeling that we've got a very solid self. So everything inside, release it outside. Float the hands down. And as they float down, we can start to come into a Wuji stance. So space between the arms and the body. Try and have this whole area relaxed. Perhaps a sense that they're kind of like forming into a ball-like shape, the arms and the hands. Relax the shoulders, unlock the knees. So just take a moment to see how you can set yourselves up to have the least activity going on with the body, the most amount of stacking of skeleton. So if you like to, you can just play with the balance, moving that forwards and backwards or sides to side. It's a point at which the body kind of calms. Can you start to notice how we allow gravity to take effect rather than resisting it? Nice and open through the spine, and that moves all the way up through the crown of the head. As we allow things to arise and pass, we can perhaps tune into a sense of this Wu Wei, effortless effort, and a sense of emptiness, ultimate emptiness, Wu Ji. So from here, any point you need to, you can sit down. We're just going to do a short meditation. So start to bring the awareness to the surface of the body. The whole of the surface of the body. And with your awareness resting on the surface, can you detect any sensations whatsoever that you might associate with energy on the surface? Take your time. As with the rest of our meditations, when you get distracted, just bring your awareness back, noticing any sensations of energy on the whole surface of the body. No right or wrong. Now starting to bring the awareness inside the body, whole body. And again, can you notice any sensations that you might associate with energy? Anything at all. Just being inquisitive. Now we'll take different parts of the body and see if we can pick up on energy. So taking the head, noticing any sensations of energy on the surface or inside the head. You might notice things in the face, the crown of the head, the Ba Hui point, crown of the head. Or inside, the brain is full of electrical activity. Just noticing. Perhaps including the neck as well. And now let's notice the arms and the hands, surface and inside. One of the easiest places to pick up on energy is probably in the palms of the hands, the Lao Gong points. Perhaps in the fingers, perhaps on the inner surface of the skin of the arms, maybe also inside the arms themselves. Any sense at all, energy. And then noticing the legs and the feet. Surface and inside. Perhaps noticing the Yongquan points of the soles of the feet. Maybe there's an easier sense of energy connection there. Front and middle of the foot. Sole of the foot. Can you notice anything else going on inside the feet or inside the legs? Bringing the awareness up over the pelvis and inside the pelvis. Up into the torso, surface of the body, and inside. And see if you can bring your awareness into the dantian. Doesn't matter if you can't feel nothing going on here, just try and bring the awareness inside the belly, right into the middle. The very middle point of the body, in whichever direction we go. It's right in the center of the body. Bring the awareness in there. And perhaps starting to have a feeling that you can breathe into and out of that point. Breathing fresh breath energy deeply all the way down into that central point of the belly. And perhaps having a feeling that you can start to allow the breath energy to pool there, to grow perhaps. The breath is still going to leave the body, but see on an out breath if you can allow the energy to stay in the belly. In breath, bring it in. Out breath, allow the breath energy to remain, to congregate, to pool, to grow. And from the belly, we're going to try and get a connection between the belly and the tailbone. In your mind, try and have a connection between the belly and the tailbone. And start to allow that feeling of energy to drop to the tailbone. And on an in-breath, we're going to try and bring the energy up the back of the body over the top of the head. On an out breath, we're going to try and bring it down the front of the body and round the bottom. So a circular movement of breath energy up the back, breathing in, over the top, down the front, breathing out. So trying to get that breath energy circling. Just having an intention to do that. And the next time your breath comes down to the tailbone, as we draw an in-breath and the breath starts to come up the back of the body, we're going to bring our hands out into like a cactus shape. Up the back, chest is going to pop forwards. And then as we come down the front with the breath, we're going to bring the arms and the hands in towards each other, tuck the body in. Breathe in, open up the arms, breathe out, bring the energy down the front. So just noticing as you do this, energy down the front, arms together, energy up the back, arms apart. Just seeing if that helps at all with the sense that you can move the energy around the body. Going at your own pace. And then we're going to try switching. So in breath, we're going to bring the hands down and we're going to breathe up the back of the body, raise the hands. Come over the top of the head and then bring the hands down. Bring the energy down the front of the body. So breathing in, up the back. Out, bring it over and down the front. You can have your eyes open or closed. Just trying to tune in to if that's any easier, that sense of using the hands to bring the energy around, or if it makes no difference, or it's worse. Doesn't matter. And then when you're ready to do so, on the downward movement of the hands, bring the hands into a prayer position. And on an in-breath, we're going to take the hands up, still bringing the breath up the back. Out breath, we're going to gently bring it down the front, hands come down the center. Breathe in, up the back. Lift up with the hands, you can come up onto the tiptoes if you want, and then down the front. And again, just noticing if this action makes it any easier to have a sense of moving the energy in that circular motion. Good, one more. Now we're going to try doing a simplified version of the wash, but the same principle. So we're going to breathe out, bring the hand down the inside, breathing in, out the outside, breathing out over the top of the head, and then breathing in as you come down. And oh, I've done that completely wrong. Sorry, everyone. So let's start again. Breathing out and breathing in. Now we switch sides, don't we, John? Breathing out, breathing in. Breathing out over the top of the head. Breathing in, down the front. We're not going to do the usual, we're going to go straight down. So breathing out, down the back of the legs, and then breathing in, up the center. So there's a reason I'm simplifying it, even though I'm making it more difficult for myself. I'll explain. Breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in. Let's do it one more time like this. See if you can get that sense of moving the energy as you do this. Breathing out, bring the energy down. Breathing in, bring it up. Breathing out, bring it along the inside of the arm. Breathing in, bring it up the back of the arm. Breathing out, over the top of the head. Breathing in, down the front. Breathing out, encourage it down the backs of the legs. Breathing in, encourage it up the midline of the legs. So now we're going to rest the hands on the belly, and we're just going to go back to doing that same movement, just without using the hands. So can you get a sense of breathing out? Take the energy down the inside of that arm, breathing in, up the back of the arm, breathing out, inside of the other arm, breathing in, up the back of that arm, breathing out, over the top of the head, around the neck, breathing in, down the front, Breathing out down the back of the legs. Breathing in round the toes and up the inside of the legs. So a couple of times, see if you can follow that internally. If you lose track of where you're meant to be going, just go with how things feel good for you. Using the breath to have that sense of drawing the energy around the yin and the yang points. And opening the eyes, we're going to do this quite mindfully and carefully. We're going to try and have a sense of bringing the energy down across the body and just allowing it to flick out. But doing that mindfully and trying to get a sense of moving that energy as you do so. So it's like we're washing it out of us, any spent stuff that we don't need. Nice wash before we begin our sequence. Good. And then flicking the arms and the hands. So we're going to come back to the sensations of energy in the hands, the place where we can perhaps feel that energy the most clearly. Okay, and then we're going to have the hands facing down. This is a bit like a variation of one of the 18 forms. Hands face down. This hand is going to turn upwards, come down, come all the way back. The body's going to turn to the side. We're going to be looking at that hand. We're going to bring it over the shoulder. Then we're going to push it forwards in front of us. And really feel like how it can activate here as you push forwards. And then bring that one down, turn the other one up, and do the same that side. So bring it backwards, turn the body, look, and then pushing forwards, seeing how active you can allow that hand to feel. Hand comes down, hand faces up, turn it back, look back, really see if you can have an open palm and push it forwards. Can you get a sense of drawing things back behind you and then pushing it forwards? It's like gathering energy here and then push it out with the relaxed palm of the hand. Good. Let's do one more side. Gather and then push it forwards. Good. Have a bit of a shake out of the body. So how are we feeling in the palms, in the soles of the feet, the crown of the head and the belly? Just see how they feel. Those are your gates of energy. And then you've also got this Ming Men point here, which is your gate of life. So we're trying to have a sense of those points in particular, perhaps some form of activity in those areas. And perhaps the rest of the body can just be allowed to kind of have a sense of energy fizzing through it. But see how you feel. So we're going to take the weight over to one side. If you're sitting, you can still do this, opening up the leg. So we're just going to turn and open The whole of the leg, the joints is what we're aiming to loosen up in one direction and then switch directions. And then switch sides. Turn the whole leg outwards and then the whole leg inwards. And then bring the feet together, knees together, hands come over. We're going to squat down, hands come over the knees. We're going to circle the knees in one direction. And then the opposite direction. Good. Hands on hips. And we're going to circle the hips. If you're seated, you might find it easier to circle the waist. Switch directions. Good. Shake out the hands and the arms and then bring the shoulders up. Hold them here for a moment. Relax the rest of the body. And then turn them backwards. And then forwards. And then we're going to spin the elbows and the hands. And then the opposite way. Good. Dry wash the hands. Do the wrists. Nice and long through the neck. Just have a sense that you can move the head about on top of the neck. Good. We're going to do a bit of constant bear. We're going to do constant bear with a bit of a difference. So we're going to be turning at the waist like this, but sometimes that can cause problems with the knees. So if you'd like to, you can see if we can get my feet in. Still got room back there. So if you'd like to, when you come round, you can step out with the foot. See the way that the foot is going to come out like this. So we come round and foot comes out. Foot comes out. You're going to find that the weight will drop to the opposite side of the foot turning out. And you should find that that makes things easier on the knees. If you prefer, you can go back to the original version. Whichever way you're going, try and allow the arms to just hang. The Chinese description of this is to allow the arms to be like cooked noodles. Spaghetti arms. And if it's not too much effort to do it, we don't want to bring too much effort into the arms, you can try and slap the back hand into the kidney or the Mingmen area. Ideally the Mingmen, if you can hit that point between the kidneys. And then the front hand can start to come up further onto the chest. Still trying to keep the shoulders relaxed while you're doing that. Good. And start to allow that to slow down. Good. So come into your comfortable standing position, and we're going to go run through the 8 silks now, but we're going to try and run through the 8 silks with having our focus inside on what's going on in terms of energy. Also perhaps trying to get a sense of the outside. So for example, when we've got the first movement, this is very much internal. So we're working with the idea of earth energy coming up through the Lao Yang points in the soles of the feet. So this is an encouragement of energy up through the soles of the feet. but then we're pushing upwards and outwards. Here, perhaps you can get a sense of tuning into the energy around you. So we're going to try and have a sense throughout our practice of both the internal energy and a sense of perhaps the external energy. In QiGong, the external energy comes from the ground, and it comes from, you know, they call it heaven, but it's Taoist. So it's not like an idea of there being a heaven. You know, Taoism is just about being with how things actually are. So you might think of it perhaps as universe energy or something like that. So the idea is that you have energy that comes from above and from below, basically a kind of grounding energy, and also a sense of energy that's more kind of like invigorating. It's kind of freeing and more inspirational, if you like. That's the idea anyway. So find your starting point. Get your balance right. Slight bend in the knees. So hands start to come together, breathing in. We're standing up now. Look up, push the hands, look forward, breathe out, hands come down by the sides. So don't worry too much about getting this absolutely by the book. See if you can just tune into the energy side of this. The side of just sensations. You might feel things in the palms of the hands. You might feel things as the arms come down on the inside of the arms, perhaps, or on the feet. Remember, we're having a sense of trying to bring energy up through the soles of the feet, through the whole of the body, using it to balance the body, to stabilize. It's for the triple heater, so it's the idea is that it's equalizing a sense of the whole body. Breathe in. What can you feel? Breathe out. What can you feel? Completely personal, no right or wrong. Just noticing what you can feel during each of these sections. You may find that if you over push, you'll lose that kind of connection with sensation. Try and move easily within your limits, perhaps 2/3 of your abilities, and you'll probably be able to find that you can feel more. Do one more of these. So don't push it. Nice, relaxed, empty movement. See what you can feel inside that empty movement. So hands over the belly. Just take a moment to see how you feel. Where do you notice any sensations? So we're going to shift things about a little bit and come into the heavenly archer position. So wide horse stance. So there's this sense of moving up and down through the knees. Try and stay connected to the soles of the feet as you're doing this. Try and have that sense still of the gates at the soles of the feet, about 1/3 back on the sole of the foot. That point in the middle, that's your bubbling spring. So trying to stay in contact with that as you move up and down. We start off with the arms wide. I like to do this because this movement, try it, I find, especially if you add it up and then swing down, up and swing down, I find that already starts to feel quite energetic. Okay, so arms out. Let's bring them down. Let's bring the backs of the hands together, backs of the arms together. Draw our bow, Trying to keep the body nice and straight and upright as you drop down through the knees. Look through your L shape. Then bring that outstretched hand in to meet the other hand, standing up. Arms and hands together. And then we bring the hands down. Swing. Other side. Breathe in. Standing up. Breathe out. Draw your bow. Drop through the knees. Bring the hand back. Breathe in. Stand up. Breathe out. Bring it down. So, let's see what we can feel. Where do you get sensations taking place? Your personal experience. If you're not feeling much at all, that's your personal experience. If you're only feeling it in the big toe, that's your personal experience. Hands come down, they swish. Good. Drop straight down. Notice sensations. Let's bring the hands down and step in. Bring the hands on top of the belly. Once again, notice what's going on. Sometimes we get a feeling of an imprint of movement as we still the body after each session. So can you have a sense of an imprint of the movement still going on? So our next movement, this is where the crane opens its wings. Slight bend in the knees, bring the hands up, standing up. So it's like we're hugging nothing. We push the hand out, we're dropping slightly back through the knees, and then we're pulsing open, standing up, hands move away from each other. And then that wing opens up, hands, both hands very active, both fingers, sets of fingers very active. Coming slightly back down through the knees. So breathing in. Push out, breathing out. Breathe in, open up. Hands pushing away, heaven and earth. And then breathe out. Bring it down. Good. So, hopefully by now most people have got used to this. So just trying to follow along, but trying to keep that awareness on how we're feeling, what the sensations are like, where they're located. What all the details are. Remember, if you're going to push too hard, you're probably going to lose track or block those sensations. You're going to probably get a much clearer idea of sensations if you allow things to flow. See how that changes things when you just flow. Let's do one more side. Normal standing position, bring the hands over the belly, see how you feel. Again, is there an imprint? It's almost like we can still feel a sense of some of the energy moving around as we were moving the body. movement and stillness. QiGong, we're looking, as we move, we're looking for a feeling of stillness, and as we're still, we're looking for a feeling of movement. Paradoxes, as usual. Okay, so the next movement is the owl looking over its shoulder. This one, the hands are going to face each other, the backs of the hands, and then they're going to open all the way up to the chest and then come back down again, come back in again. And we're going to have a sense of rolling, open through the chest and then closing, rolling the back. So opening and closing. So the full movement, we come down, they face each other, we open the whole body out, we roll all the way up through the shoulders as we look over the shoulder, and then we bring it all back down again. So we breathe in, look over the shoulder, breathe out, come back down again. Quite a simple movement, and one that maybe we can try and push too hard into. So can you allow this to be nice and gentle and smooth and flowing? And when we allow it to be gentle and smooth and flowing, can you notice more of a sensation of what you might think of as energy in the body? Where do you feel what you feel? Is it stable? Does it move around? Does it change? We're repeating the movements. Does it feel like the same movement causes exactly the same sensation all the time, or does that change? Gentle, empty, flowing. Make this your last side. Again, bring the hands over each other. Notice how you can feel. Notice that sense of imprint if it's going on. Good. So taking the feet out again. Another one where we're going to be bouncing up and down through the knees. So again, try and have that sense of the sole of the foot being really deeply rooted. Perhaps a sense that we can take in energy there. Try and allow the pelvis, the tailbone to be really free during the whole of this. Just give it a little bit of a wiggle first. Yeah, good. And the movement is that the head is going to describe that lovely swing through the U shape. You can see that lovely rounded swing of the head. So focus on that being nice and smooth. And the whole movement, we have the hands and the knees. We look up to the side, we breathe in. And as we do that nice swing, we're breathing out. And then look up to the other side. So this one can be one that people can try and take a bit too vigorously. So try and allow that U shape to be nice and smooth, but try not to push it. Good. A nice flowing movement, blowing the breath out across the land, keeping the tailbone nice and free. Good. Relaxed U shape. Good. Now, if that U shape that you're describing is nice and relaxed, free flowing, not too much effort, can you feel any sensations as you do it? Where do you feel those sensations? Where are they located? Do they move around? What are the qualities of the sensations? Good. And then make this your last side. Feet back towards each other, hand over the belly, hands over the belly. Notice any sense of imprint. Movement within stillness. So the last one is heart fire. So we now come to our water chi. So we use the hands to encourage the energy up, and we scoop it. Using the hands, we scoop it to the lower back, and we're rubbing into the lower back. At this point, if you're standing up, the knees are bent. And then we come into a forward fold, breathing in, breathing out. We come back down through the knees, bring the hands down the backs of the legs, round the feet, breathing in, up the inside of the legs, breathing out into the belly. Okay, so breathe in, swing, breathe in, rub it in, forward fold, breathe out, bring the knees down, the hands down, breathe in, up the inside, breathe out, rubbing the belly. So make this movement as gentle and free-flowing as possible and notice sensations. Breathing in, swing, breathing out, breathing in, rubbing, breathing out, bring the hands down the backs of the legs, breathing in, up the insides, breathing out, rubbing. So notice free-flowing, notice the sensations. You're probably going to keep your awareness quite clearly in the hands. Perhaps you can notice how those hands might be able to encourage even more of a sense of energy moving around the body. One more time. We're finishing on the belly, so just place the hands over the belly. Pick up on any sense of movement within stillness. So if you'd like to, you can come out into a slightly wider stance again, slight bend in the knees again. Hands, thumbs inside, fingers gently around, bring the fists in. Angry stare through the eyes, breathe out, punch. Hard breath, breathe in, bring it back in, perhaps it's going into the belly. Angry eyes. So again, not pushing too hard. What are the senses of energy? Where do you feel? One more. Bring the hands up. Encourage things to settle. Hands over the belly. Movement and stillness. And our final movement Their feet can possibly come in a little bit more closely together. We have that sense of scooping with the hands, back to the hands first, and then they scoop out, bring the energy up the sides, all the way up, come up onto tiptoe, turn the hands, drop halfway, and then drop full way. Breathe in as you come up. Turn the hands, half drop, breathe out all the way down. So again, try not to push things too far. More important that we try and get a clear sense, or as clear a sense as possible, a free sense of what the energy is doing. Let's do one more. Rest with the hands on the belly. Find that movement within stillness. Step the feet out slightly. Breath is normal, not linking it to the movement. Hands face outwards. Just have that sense of bringing peaceful energy up. How does that feel? How do you notice that sense of peaceful energy? Gather it up above you, and then encourage that peaceful energy through the body. How does that feel? Give the body a bit of a shake. Dominant fist, other hand wraps around it, our three bows. Our first bow is thanking each other for sharing this practice today. Our second bow is to our teachers, past, present, and future, for the knowledge that they share. And our third bow is a bow to ourselves, and in bowing to ourselves, we're acknowledging all our ancestors, our parents, our grandparents, all the way back to a source of oneness. Thank you.